You may recognize this as a oil cooler off an old Mercedes diesel. This is probably off a late 70s 300D. And over the years I've done quite a few videos on these oil coolers because they easily get damaged when they're removed. And that happens, of course, when you're either replacing the oil cooler or replacing these oil cooler hoses. And the problem is this fitting right here. That fitting is aluminum, and this nut is steel. So you have that issue of steel binding to aluminum when you over torque it, or it will gall the threads when you remove it. So if you destroy these threads, your oil cooler is not usable, and the new oil coolers are no longer available. Or if you can find one new, we're talking $400 to $500, okay? And you have to find these used. Well, just recently we've been working with a couple of cars that needed oil cooler replacement, and we finally decided to come up with another wrench. If you're familiar with our tools for replacing oil coolers, we have two of them. These two right here that we custom make here in our shop. This tool is designed to go over the pipe and get on these big 27mm nuts, and then of course you can break them free. This wrench is not necessary on the oil cooler itself, but you get down on the oil filter housing. This is a lifesaver, frustration saver, I should say. Then we had to come up with another tool to hold the fitting on the oil cooler housing, because when you got on that and started to turn that big nut, it would start to spin. So it was obvious we were going to have to make a very thin wrench because there's not enough clearance to get in behind those fittings on the oil filter housing. But just this last week, Jersh and I got together and said, we really need another wrench to hold the oil cooler fitting right here. It's a 22mm, and if you take a standard 22mm, look at this. It just won't go under there. So if you use this and then tighten this down, you can damage it. And if this is on real tight and you just try to reef it without holding it right there, then you can damage the fitting and or the threads. So we went to work, got a 22mm open-end wrench, and look at that. We grind it to about 3/16 inch thick. And this wrench here will allow you to go underneath and grab the cooler, so when you loosen this up or tighten it up, you've got something that you're holding against. So you're not putting all the force on this aluminum housing. So that's the new tool released in late March 2022. But as I've said in many of my videos, there's nothing like having the right tool for the job. This wrench can also do double duty on removing the fuel filters on a lot of the W116 and W123 diesels up through 1983. The later ones, as you see here, that used a bigger bolt to hold the filter on. But this is a wrench you should probably carry in the trunk of your car just to change your fuel filter should you get stuck out on the open road.